All right, Mia, I want to thank you for joining us today. And I kind of wanted to start things out before we really get into fearlessly questioning anything. I want you to tell me your story as it relates to connecting and how you've fearlessly questioned it yourself.
Okay, how far do you want me to go back? I am old.
As long as, let's say 5 minutes.
In my life? I'm at how far back in my life?
Think Cliff Notes, Cliff
I
Notes.
love, oh yeah, I'm always in Cliff Notes because I run a show, so I know how that goes. So, my company's called the Mia Connect, and it took me a while to figure out why I was so drawn to that word connect, what it meant, how what I would do with that, how it look and feel. The Mia Connect started about 3 years ago, and I was coming off of running a group here in Denver called Crave Denver. Book launch tonight, by the way. Hey, how nice is that? So, but I kept thinking, like, what does that mean? And what I loved is that I think that connecting with people is all about community, and community is unisex. So I was running a group for women entrepreneurs. I have a business that I work with men in construction. I'm like, I got to get these two worlds going together. So that's how I came up with the Mia Connect. I came up with the tagline, connecting you to the people and businesses you need to know in Denver and beyond. And the iteration now, 3 years later, I finally found what really makes me tick, which is doing Google Hangouts and introducing and connecting people to one another through my show. Cliff Notes.
That's actually pretty good. Actually, you have a few minutes to spare if you left anything out that was ultimately vital.
Ah, honestly, it really was a pretty painful and messy, I don't want to say messy, but painful process to say, should I do this? Should I start a networking group? No, I don't want to do that. Everybody else is doing that. And I couldn't figure out what wasn't working for me. I knew it was too small. It was too small. It was 2303, which is our area code here. And so, but I couldn't quite figure out how to do that. I got offered a radio show. I was like, oh, great, I'll try that. Dumb. Sorry for those of you in
No.
radio, but it's too limiting. So, and then I discovered Google Hangouts last year and have just dove into it, and it's, have kind of gone through the messy process of learning how to best utilize it. I still am learning.
So we might as well just like a Band-Aid right off with this thing. We will get to the question that most people have come for. And the question that kind of made me say, well, let's bring Mia on. And anybody that's kind of watched your show knows it's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of interaction, and it's really just like you're having a good time. And you're bringing in all these crazy different people. And I was kind of, I guess, after watching it one day, I was thinking to myself, well, this is great. This is fun. I feel good about myself. But man, Mia just got to talk with like some of like the biggest people like on the internet, and I'm just kind of in my living room in my pajamas watching. And
Yeah, us too.
the question I have is really who benefits the most? I mean, from this, is it you, the person connecting the audience, or is it the audience who is getting connected, or is it you actually connecting with the people on your show?
It's all of it, Joey. It is equal parts of it, which is why I think it's such a magical recipe for me. That it's something that I get a kick out of it. I got a notification yesterday from someone, and I got to remember it because it really struck me, that had shared the Temple Grandin, not even my show, but he shared the Temple Grandin TED Talk, whom I got to speak with about 2 weeks ago, and said I couldn't figure out why Mia was so excited. She was talking about it, and then I watched it, and he got so inspired by her, and I literally spent all of yesterday going, that's why I love doing what I do, because it lights a candle for different people. I get so excited when I'm talking to people and I hear their story. I mean, I talked to a friend the other day, and he's telling me about his 14-year-old daughter who's working with kind of a school of rock thing, but more of like a Chicks Who Rock, and she's this 14-year-old kid playing drums, and I was like, oh, dude, we got to have her on the show. Like, and how fun is that to have this platform to say, look how cool these people are. So it's beneficial for the guests because they get introduced to a new audience. The audience learns new people, and then I get all wound up, and so that's what makes the show tick.
So let's say you kind of use that as a little bit of an example. Really, is there something that we can go deeper on as far as a result? Like, I mean, tell me something like that was just like blew you away, that said like this is something I will never stop doing as far as that connection that you were able to make for somebody.
I got it. This is the story I just told. I'm telling you that.
That's
For
the best
me,
one you got, really? Just in the last 2 weeks, you had the best story of your life?
I kind of, It's Temple Grandin. I mean,
Okay.
give you so Temple Grandin is someone I discovered 15 years ago from reading an Oliver Sacks book, who's the guy that wrote the book that the movie Awakenings was based on. So he's I think a neuroscientist, and he talks about this brilliant professor who's high functioning autistic that learned that her mind works the way the animals do. So fascinated by that. So for me to reach out to her, get her on my show, and then have somebody get fired up about it, that really is what it kind of boils down to, is lighting a candle for people, getting people to connect to one another. So then you can boil that down even further with Google Hangouts. That's what's gotten people so fired up. I mean, look at you. You're in insurance and you're starting a show. Hello, how awesome is that, right? And I know
Is that a disparaging remark against insurance? I don't know how to take that.
because everybody does that. Listen, my first career was in insurance. I was an insurance agent at 18. I was a commercial insurance agent, and I just thought it was the most. I still think it's probably one of the most fascinating careers I was ever in. I happened to get out of it because I switched when I was in New York. But I mean, when I was in it back in the day, just to toot your horn, one of our accounts was the Cray supercomputer. That should tell you how long ago that was. And we got to go tour it. This is 1986. We got to, because we were insuring it. So there's some cool stuff to it. But I mean, think about that you get to go out and, Ryan Hanley started it and you're doing it, and you get to go out and get a whole new side of your personality sort of massaged.
Good way to put that.
You're welcome.
Let's talk about, you kind of hit on it a little bit, but let's talk about for those people that I'm going to call connection complainers, those people that are always asking the questions, how do you talk to these people? I'm just nobody. I'm sitting in my mom's basement with a bowl of Fruit Loops. What are these people? I mean, why are they complaining? I mean, what is it that, I would say first put the Fruit Loops down, get yourself a real breakfast cereal or breakfast, but whatever. What is it that about those people that kind of keeps beating that same drum, and how do we help them, start being a new one?
Well, I think they need to kind of get clear. I think they need to get fearless and just start looking outside of their comfort level. Again, to go back to the story, this guy who posted that yesterday was like, I would have never paid attention to that and I was like, you took a chance on somebody saying, hey, check this out. This is what's good. So I think if you're willing to spend some time to, even if you want to start working on, what's that called when I'm so bad at this. When you're allotting time throughout your day to say, okay, for 10 minutes, I'm going to go poke around on some, The Guardian, some UK news stream, or go through, just type in, Google Hangouts and see what's out there and spend 10 minutes watching something new. Because I'll tell you, we're creatures of habit. So I call things my binky. Pinterest is a binky for mine. I just kind of, things that are comfortable for me to do. So it's a little bit of getting outside of your comfort level to spend even small increments of time saying, I'm going to read a different article, or I'm going to check out a different hangout. So take it in small dribs and drabs, maybe.
So I guess, and what I don't know if the word you were looking for is influence, allowing yourself to maybe be influenced by things that you might not have otherwise.
In my mouth, but yes.
Okay. No, but I think that's important though, because it's that influence that allows you to, again. I think the best gauge of that is the comfort zone. Is when you start to feel a little uncomfortable. That's when you're probably doing something that you should be doing. But
I will say the things that I've become the best thing in my life. I think about a friend of mine handing me a CD, way back in the day, there's two musical influences. One is Leonard Cohen, and a friend of mine sent me music. I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with that guy? He sounds awful. And then I went to a Leonard Cohen concert, and he's just this amazing singer-songwriter. And yes, he's got this grumbly, different voice. It's kind of like how Tom Waits is. But once I got past that, like, WTF moment, I was like, man, this guy is it. And another one is a woman named Liz Phair, Phair. She hasn't done anything in a while, but again, she has this very unusual musical style, and I was kind of like, eh. And then I was just, that's one of those albums that I can listen to every song. Nobody really does that anymore. So it was getting outside of my comfort level, and then I was just hooked.
First, I only listen to entire albums, so I'm that guy.
I like that about you. Wow, I haven't met that guy in a while.
Yeah, definitely that guy. I hate singles, but anyways, I think something even more important there that you kind of hit upon is it's not necessarily just connecting with people; it's connecting with different experiences too.
Yes.
And I think the biggest challenge when you're in the connection business, let's say, with your show on, you guys hit on such a wide range of topics, and what we're going to be doing, hitting on a bunch of wide range of topics, you run the risk of being preachy or trying to force your opinions on people. But what is that? What is it about that? How do you finesse that, massage it, if you will, to kind of introduce those things to people that may not be as open to them, or is it just about finding those people that are open to those types of new experiences?
I think there's a lot of hangout shows that are like that. I think mine is just more about experience or the person. So, ironically, when you think about it, I have shows where it's not really a read this, believe this, more of a like discussion type of thing. So I had a fashion topic the other day, and it was really fun. What I try and do is choose a lot of variation. So I had a young woman who's still in college. I have Nazim Beltran's wife, who's been in the makeup, high fashion makeup industry for 20 plus years. People in between. So then it becomes more of a, I love that phrase, poo-poo platter of information. So it's not really pushing anything on it, but I'm going to jump into this real quick because it came up the other day, and you asked me before the whole thing. I had to push fearlessly. One of my fears when I chose to change the format, I don't even know if it was a fear. It was more like, F it, I'm going to change it. I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I changed from the social media Power Chat to the Mia Connect Power Chat, right? Back in December. I don't know if you were watching then. Yeah, back in actually in January.
That was right around the time I was coming on board.
Yeah, it was actually. So, I kind of went through like I should feel afraid because people are going to be, think like what's this all about? But I also knew that social media and all those topics, online marketing, were really well covered. Got to change it up. Plus, if I was doing social media and I wanted to bring somebody like my friend who has a horse therapy business, that wouldn't really fit now, would it? Be like, what does that have to do with social media?
I mean, horse therapy, you have a hard time fitting that just about anywhere, but you managed to do it, though. So
I'm on a horse.
I don't know the last time I said I really am in the need of a good horse therapist. But,
yeah, when does that come up in conversation?
Not too often.
So, but that was the difficult thing, and I literally, somebody actually mentioned this the other day. They were kind of questioning why I would do that, and said it was a different kind of comment of, and it struck a chord in me the other day of like, oh gosh, that is how it appeared to people of, she's doing something different every week. But I spent some time with that over the weekend, kind of just reaffirming why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's a brand, which I love, and I kind of like being more of the Jimmy Fallon of Google Hangouts.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here. I didn't prepare you for this at all, but for those of you listening to the podcast after the fact, you can kind of think about this in your car ride wherever you're going with this thing. But if anybody on the live hangout here is fearless enough to answer, well, we'll be glad to kind of look into this. But I want you to ask the audience a fearless question yourself, something that you kind of want to know from people that you might not have always just had the opportunity to say, hey, listen, what's going on here?
Oh, yeah, hey, what do you guys think of my show, I guess? I mean, is that what you mean? Because, I mean, I get a lot of feedback, but it would be nice to see if people have different ideas for the show. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to be like, no, I won't do that, but it would be interesting to see, like, do you think it's different? Do you is it something that you like the way the format is?
I could even push you to go a little bit deeper and say, I know you're big into animal rights and all that stuff. Say, hey, what do you guys, I mean, what are your thoughts on any of this?
I haven't seen yet.
What's that?
I mean, I could ask, what are you seeing that you haven't seen yet? I mean, when I started doing my newsletter a couple weeks ago, it was great because I did have people come back and say, I said, I'm going to do a show on this and this and this coming up. What do you think? And I got a lot of great feedback and some suggestions. So Yeah, is there a topic you'd like to see? I know I'm going to jump into, talking with hopefully some people from like the Wounded Warrior Project, and maybe get Sarah Hill on if she'd like to come on and dig into that topic. I think it'd be kind of fun too. So, but what was the deeper question?
The dig deep, like I mean, just kind of finding a little like if if you had to ask somebody a question, but you were afraid of how they were going to respond, I guess with your audience in mind, what would that be? It's like, man, I kind of want to ask you this, but I don't want you to hate me for asking it, type question.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I probably the question that I would be afraid to ask is what do you not like that I'm doing? That's kind of a scary question to ask.
Not a big fan of you don't think they're going to be nice with some constructive criticism?
I don't know. Not after those posts the other day.
All right, well, we'll think about that. Again, I was going to prepare you for it, but we had a little hiccup getting things started. But
No,
that's
and
okay.
that was all me, by the way. If you guys have not noticed, I'm actually on here as my cat, Mia Voss, but I did use my lower third. So, in fact, let me fix my lower third real quick. Look at look at this. Isn't just Google just nutty sometimes? Oh, there we go. See what I did, Joey?
I don't know what you did.
Well, I turned my overlay off and on because before it was sitting in the film strip. Now it's sitting above. So for those of you out there on a show and notice that your film strip is cut, your lower third is covered, you turn your lower third off and on, and it pops you back up. Thanks, Google. Where's my crown? What the?
Oh man, I didn't even catch it. That's my fault right there. That's a bad show hosting.
Feeling weird? That's why.
No, but thank you. That was a Google Hangout pro tip from Mia Voss, everybody. So I hope you were paying attention. You took notes. Write that one down.
And it could change next week.
It could, very much. So let's get back to the whole connection thing, and really what I'm kind of interested to know, and maybe everybody else is too, what kind of has directly come from, like, what's one of the best kind of things that have happened from somebody that you've connected with on your show? Like, what opportunities has that opened up for you? What avenues did you not think were once possible, but all of a sudden you had somebody on and this happened because of that?
Ooh, good question. I gotta think one up on that one. I would say just this is more of an overarching one, but a year ago, again, I was so focused on Colorado. I love Denver and that, but I'd say as an overarching thing, being able to just take my world and go, okay, I've got friends over in Italy now that I'm going to go visit. I've got friends in Panama that I'm going to go visit who have brought me opportunities. It's changed a business model in a sense of being able to realize that I can take my my emceeing / panel moderating skills and have them go out kind of more of on a worldwide thing instead of it being a brick and mortar boots on the ground thing. So I would say one, it's changed a business model that I can do what I love to do and do that for businesses. I'm going to be doing that for actually a development down in Panama and just being the moderator for their hangout and being the color commentary. But that's, again, opportunities that if I had stayed on even just Facebook or Twitter that I would not have seen. I wouldn't have felt comfortable with having, these conversations with people and just calling them up, so to speak, and then having a conversation with them.
So when you say go visit, do you actually mean like physically in real life, or are you talking about just...
Chef Dennis and his girlfriend are coming to see me and Greg in a couple weeks, and I plan on spending my big birthday in March in Italy with Nazim and Elisabetta, and like, who thinks that stuff up before, you know what I mean?
And I think that's if I had to guess, I think that's where we're going to see a big shift here in the next couple of years as far as people realizing, might be kind of a bad word, but realizing like kind of how cool it is to take things from a Google Hangout to the actual physical, three-dimensional world.
I think people are a lot more. I mean, we saw it when I met you in San Diego. I mean, that was like hurl off the chain. I mean, there's probably 10 people that we met or had talked to or were new. I mean, I met you. I knew of Ryan. A couple other, people too. It was pretty neat.
Well, I think, the biggest thing is that it's, I don't know if you struggle from this and this whole connection thing and what, connect with people that are so like-minded, that share so many similar interests, that's not all that realistic sometimes within your like physical proximity. So like when you kind of put those people in the same room, I would imagine that it kind of creates an energy that is unlike what you experience most of your life.
Yeah, I think we've been pretty lucky. I was a little worried about that of that just that it would be sort of this not the same thing when you meet up with people. And I got to tell you in general, just because most of these people that, I mean, Debbie Davis, she's here in Denver, and it's exactly the same when you meet her. Christine and I had countless hangouts, meet up for the first time physically in San Diego, and then stay in a hotel together for 4 days, and it was just like there was no surprises for me. There's no surprises for anybody because these are people that I'd had just hours of conversation. The only surprise is like, oh, your legs are that long. I was actually shorter than Christine thought. So.
You stole my joke. I would have set it up a little bit better, but yeah, I mean the weirdest thing about seeing people is their legs because it's kind of hard to message you up. But
well, then there's the Brian Hanley. He's that tall.
yeah, it's definitely throws you off, and then you also get to the thing about, and even with Hangouts, I've noticed is that when you do meet somebody in real life, you find out who hasn't updated their profile picture in a couple years because they look a little different. I'm not calling anybody out.
Worst is Bob Voss because he still has a profile picture when he had 4 legs.
Oh wow, a whole appendage missing, and at least he's not showing them off all 4 paws or anything. But
no. If you click on it, yeah, there's a couple of them where he's got his 2 socks. Now he's 1 sock.
So I feel like we've kind of talked a lot about what it is that you do with your connection and all that fun stuff, and the fearless question that I wanted to ask, we kind of got out of the way, but I feel like there might be a little bit more to that. I mean, if you had to say, without a doubt, going from the examples that you've had from your audience and from what you've experienced, if you had to pick a side, listen, I think I try to provide as much value for my audience as possible, but ultimately I think at the end of the day, me connecting with these people, I might win out, or I think my audience might actually get more out of it than I get in return from my panel. If you had to pick, if I'm saying, Mia Voss, I'm not letting you out of this hangout until you pick, which one would it be?
Me.
Yeah.
Because it lights me up. I mean, I'm not saying that it's less for anybody else, but I think everybody, look at this, you just segued me into saying something which I hopefully think is cool, is that it should actually benefit everyone. It should benefit you the most because that's what lights you up. You've got to stay in purpose. You've got to find something. I think that's the cool thing about the downturn of this economy is there's a lot of people that would not have gotten the ball sack to go, I said that, to go and do what they're supposed to be doing, right? Because they would have stayed in that job. And then if you get kicked out of something and you got a free fall, then you do, on the way down, find the thing you're supposed to be doing. That's what's been cool for me. I mean, one of the biggest blessings for me with the downturn is that it got me out of my comfort zone. I started working and put together this networking group here in Denver. There's no way I would have known about all these kick-ass women who are doing really cool stuff in Colorado had I not had to get thrown out of my secure nest. And then I wouldn't be doing this. I knew there was something I was supposed to be doing. I just couldn't figure it out. I know that sounds cheesy, but I really feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Last question before we start to wrap this thing up here, because I know you got to go.
No, I'm actually pretty good. You told me 2, and that was actually 12 my time, so I'm in a little bit better shape than we thought.
All right, fantastic. Well, it's the last question. I don't have any more. So, what do I even remember the last question? Now that you messed me up, what was I going to say? Messing me. Last question was going to be, what are some tips? I guess maybe not even some. Just, I mean, what we've kind of come back to this comfort zone thing a couple times, and it probably is the hardest thing to kind of get a hold of when connecting with people. I mean, I am the introvert of introverts when I need to be, and I hate like social interaction. I could, if you come up to me in like real life, I don't talk that much. But how do you help people, or what would you tell somebody that is, again, listening to this, sitting at their desk job, hating absolutely every second of their life, and thinking, oh, maybe there's something out there I should be doing, like you said, finding that. How would you tell somebody to get out of their comfort zone, or what did you do to get out of your comfort zone outside of being forced? I guess it's kind of cheating, but.
No, I mean, but it's kind of going back to what we said before, which is that if you're taking the time to just kind of check out some different things, and question, like, I wonder what that would be like, or let me go check this out. Maybe even try a different meetup in your town. It really is doing. I think you can start with very small segments of looking at something new. And that literally could be picking up a new magazine, that could be having a conversation. And listen, I get it. I don't know, we've had this conversation, but a lot of people know on Google that I'm an ambivert, which is a very outgoing introvert. I get worn out by people. In fact, after this party tonight, I'm going to be sucking my thumb with a bottle of wine for about 3 days after this, because I'm going to be in a crowd. I got to give a speech. I got to talk to a bunch of people. It's going to wear me out, but I've learned what energizes me and what doesn't. So I've had to get outside of my comfort zone. But I would say just start looking at, started checking out new hangouts, or just try and check out something new. And that could be a new industry. I mean, my other business is building inspection. Kind of like my other car's a Mercedes.
Yeah.
My other hat's a hard hat. How's that?
One of these days we'll have a whole hangout on building, inspecting, and all that goes with it.
Me too.
Someday. I don't know what the viewership would be like for that, but so before we go ahead and get out here, I do appreciate you taking the time, to stop by and talk with us here. What do you want people to be doing? How can they, find you, connect with you, and what would you like them to do?
My CTA. My call to action is go to themiaconnect.com and subscribe, because I do a weekly newsletter. I put in a little video, and it's kind of fun. Sometimes it's me with no makeup or drinking wine or Bob Voss, but it's updates on my show. So that's what I'd like for you to do, is go to the Mia Connect, and then you'll get invites to my shows as well. Do you have any questions that we have from the audience? I know Brian Shea was out there. What up, brother?
He just wanted to know that where your crown was, and you fixed that. So
yay.
So we don't want to disappoint. I mean, it is kind of like a superhero not having their superhero attire on, if I may.
I get that. What's weird about you?
Yeah, something's missing. I'm not sure what. But no, I mean, I thank you for taking the time, and you talked about subscribing, giving me a nice little moment to say, listen, we are starting this thing new, fearlessly questioning, brand new thing, and if at all you are interested in more fearless questions and want us to stick around, just dropped a link in the event description to go subscribe in iTunes. If you want to go ahead and give a rating, review, whatever. Honestly, I don't care. Say we're terrible. Anything works for me. But obviously, if you like it, well, then say that you like it. But
speaking of which, I'm going to follow in your steps soon with the podcast. So you and Ryan are inspiring me. I'm still behind, but good for you. You're doing great, by the way. And thank you. I apologize for coming in so late, but look how good we did. Yay.
We pulled it off. I mean, you're a professional, so I just leaned on you the whole time, and you just carried my dead carcass around this hangout. So.
You did great.
But thank you. If everybody could do that, then obviously, the more people that kind of buzz this thing up on iTunes, the better the chance we have of getting people around here. So, Mia,
and I'm just going to say, do it because I said so.
Well, that is much more incentive than I could ever give them. So.
Not, but it's good.
All right, Mia. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming along, and hopefully people are asking their own fearless questions today. We appreciate your time. Take it easy, everyone.
Hey, guess what? That was Joey Giangola, by the way, in case you don't know how to say his name. Thanks,
Awesome.
Joey.
Thanks.